A very warm welcome to Newsfeed on the 17th day of June 2022, a day that has seen the Kenya Kwanza coalition progress its campaigns in Kakamega County, pushing the agenda to get elected in office come August 9th. One of the many stories we've lined up for your news this afternoon. Now, with that said, my name is Dennis Otieno. I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on to our top story this afternoon. The Kenya Kwanza leaders have taken their campaigns to Kakamega County, led by Deputy President William Ruto. The leaders are expected to hold a major political rally at the Bomani grounds in Mumias, Kakamega County. We're now joined live by our Kakamega County-based reporter, that is Violet Auma. Violet, good afternoon. Kindly bring us up to speed with what is taking shape in Kakamega County.
Deputy President William Ruto and Anna President has arrived right now here in arrived right now here
So we do apologize for that interference. It is an action-packed stadium at the Bomani grounds in Kakamega County, where the Kenya Kwanza coalition, led by Deputy President William Ruto, is taking center stage. Of course, they are pushing the agenda to get elected in office come August 9th. It is Violet Auma, our reporter, who's following up with the story. We will link up with her a few minutes later when this situation has settled a little bit later. Meanwhile, still in Kakamega County, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has urged Western Kenya residents to vote for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential candidate Raila Odinga in the August polls. According to the governor, the region has been lagging behind in developmental matters, saying residents need to make the right decision when electing leaders to ensure meaningful development in the region. And I'm being informed the story is being prepared and it will be with us a few minutes from now. Remember, politics has been taking center stage in Kakamega County. At the moment, the Kenya Kwanza coalition is holding its campaigns at the Bomani grounds. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who is with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, has urged the residents of Kakamega County to vote for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance flag bearer. That is Raila Odinga come August 9th. So, a lot of politicians trying to woo the residents of Kakamega County to vote for their respective leaders come August 9th. Meanwhile, the presidential aspirant Walter Mongare has appeared before the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee. Now, Mongare says he is fit to run for the presidency since he finished his studies at Daystar University and is just waiting for his graduation. Now let's cross over to the Milimani Law Courts, where currently Ekuru Aukot's case is ongoing. Now court is having a case against Raila Odinga and he is requesting IEBC to remove Raila Odinga from the presidential race. Now let's have a listen in to what happened earlier on at the Milimani Law Courts.
And I remember that vividly. There was some Mr. Ayeko who came here and said that he never filed a complaint here. We do not want to be victims to that again. And knowing that this complaint was filed on 9th of June.
9th of June.
Can you bring in your client here, because today is 17th, we still have time. Can you bring in your client here tomorrow? We'll hear you tomorrow. Make sure your client is here tomorrow.
Very well. Give us
Please.
the time and location.
Yeah, we'll stand over this matter to 10 a.m. tomorrow. And first of all, is the returning officer Elgeyo Marakwet present?
Yeah, I'm present.
You are present. We want to Marakwet West. We want to adjourn this matter to tomorrow. We cannot proceed without a complainant being present. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay?
Chair, can I make a comment on the same?
Yes.
This morning, the complainant actually reached out, and it appeared that he's within the court's vicinity. And my only request is that can we hear this matter in the afternoon at 2 p.m. so that it doesn't prejudice
Do you know the complainant? Can you bring him here to us? Because I do not know, because last time your friend wanted us to proceed and dismiss the complaint. The complainant was not present. Now today, counsel, you are present for the complainant. Wasn't that your application? I remember very well.
Yes.
You wanted it to be dismissed. Now today again, your complainant is not present. I would then agree with counsel. We come back at 2 because it's expensive for parties to come, and I think that is the reason. Because I told him serve the complainant again. He is reminded us.
I just want to not to be mistaken.
Yeah.
Because I filed my notice of appointment this morning.
By the way, I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming your client. So, as far as we are concerned, we are not going to adjourn this matter for the second time for the reason that the complainant is not present. We are adjourning this matter to 3 p.m. If he doesn't proceed, we will dismiss this complaint. Okay? Call him through whatever means, send a chopper, bring him here. If he's not here, we are dismissing. This is not a joke, okay? It is not a joke because he's taking us for a joke. 3 p.m. is not here, we will dismiss the complaint. 3 p.m. we proceed, okay?
Yeah, I also pray so as the returning officer, because surely since Tuesday, this case has been coming.
Thank you, counsel, for reminding us about that. So if the complainant will not be present, we'll dismiss the complaint.
Thank you for that. And the respondent, when I traveled on Monday,
From the Milimani Law Courts, we now head back to Kakamega County, where our reporter Violet Auma is pitching camp and following up with the Kenya Kwanza Coalition campaigns. At the moment, it is the flag bearer of the Kenya Kwanza Coalition, that is Deputy President William Ruto, who is addressing the public. So let's have a listen to what he's saying.
Wakati tunaenda mbele, sawa sawa, sawa sawa. Wacha Rashida ngoje hapo kidogo. Si namna hiyo? Mumias tumekubaliana jameni. Lakini mimi nataka niwaulize. Si mnajua hiyo kazi yote sasa? Si awamu ya hiyo serikali imeisha? Si imeisha? Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize. Mko na habari ya kwamba tutaunda serikali nyingine tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8? Mumias mko na habari? Yeye Mumias mmejipanga ama mnangoja kupangwa? Ati mpangwingi? Ati mmesema aje? Ati Mumias mnasemaje? Na Kakamega mnasemaje? Hebu nione wale wanasema tutajipanga sisi wenyewe. Sasa mimi nawauliza ndugu zangu wa hapa Mumias, sawa sawa, mimi nawauliza, ati kuna watu wako na kiburi mingi na madharau mingi, ati wameketi huko Nairobi, ati wanataka kutupanga na mzee wa kitendawili. Mimi nauliza nyinyi, wale wako Nairobi ndio wataamua ama nyinyi ndio mtaamua? Wale wako kwa mahoteli ndio kusema ama nyinyi ndio kusema? Si nyinyi ndio kusema? Si nyinyi ndio mtaamua? Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8. Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize, mambo ni mawili. Kitendawili anasema anataka kuja kwanza abadilishe katiba, ati aongeze mamlaka ya rais, ati aongeze vyeo ya viongozi, ati aanzishe rege tena. Mimi nataka niwaulize watu wa Mumias, nyinyi mnataka ati tubadilishe katiba kwanza ama tungebadilisha uchumi kwanza? Tunabadilisha uchumi kwanza ama ni aje Mumias? Tubadilishe katiba ama uchumi? Katiba ama uchumi? Katiba ama uchumi? Tubadilishe uchumi kwanza. Hebu nione wana anasema tubadilishe uchumi kwanza, uchumi kwanza, uchumi kwanza. Si ndio? Tubadilishe uchumi kwanza. Ni hivyo Mumias. Na ndio tumesema hivi, hapa Mumias, tunaelewana? Hapa Mumias, kitega uchumi kubwa ya Mumias ni hapa Mumias Sugar. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Hii kiwanda yenu ya Mumias tulijaribu kuweka pesa karibu bilioni 5 lakini haikuamuka. Mimi nataka nitangaze nikiwa hapa Mumias, ati hawa majamaa wamelete mtu ati pale mwenye amenunua hiyo kampuni kwa auction, ati kwa sababu ya madeni. Mimi nataka niwaambie, huyo mtu ameletwa pale sio investor, watu wasitudanganye. Huyo ni mtu amenunua kampuni kwa auction. Na mimi nataka niwatangazie ya kwamba Kenya Kwanza, ile madeni yote Mumias iko nayo, hata ni madeni ya kina nani, hata madeni ya mabenki, serikali ya Kenya italipa. Ndio Mumias isiwe tena na madeni ya aina yoyote. Wacha nirudie. Tunaelewana? Wacha nirudie. Nimesema hivi, tuliondoa madeni ya serikali, lakini ikabaki madeni ya makampuni. Mimi nataka nitangaze tukiwa hapa Mumias leo, serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, sio ya kwamba tutaondoa madeni ya serikali peke yake, hapana. Hata ile madeni ya mabenki serikali ya Kenya italipa, ndio kampuni ya Mumias irudi iwe ya wananchi hapa. Yenye mnanielewa? Na mbali na kulipa madeni, vile tulikuwa tumeweka bilioni 5, sasa tutaweka bilioni 10 ingine ili kuamsha kabisa kampuni hii ya Mumias iweze kufanyia kazi wananchi wa hapa Western Kenya, vile tutafanya na huko Nzoia na zile kampuni zingine, kwa sababu hiyo ndio kitega uchumi ya watu wa sehemu ya hapa Western Kenya. Tumeelewana watu wa Mumias? Tunaelewana? Na mimi nikisema hivyo, sisemi hivyo kwa kufanya guesswork.
Now, still in the presidential race, while Deputy President William Ruto is still, continuing his campaigns in Kakamega County, at the Milimani Law Courts here in Nairobi, one aspirant, that is Walter Mongare, is appealing his rejection by IEBC to vie for presidency. Mongare saying that he is qualified and fit to run for presidency since he studied at Daystar University and awaiting his graduation. Our reporter Mwangi Maina is at the Milimani Law Courts, ready to bring us up to speed with what is transpiring. Good afternoon, Mwangi Maina. What do we understand of the Walter Mongare case so far?
Well, good afternoon, Dennis Otieno. Walter Mongare's case of the Umoja Summit parties is majorly one of those interesting disputes that was being presided over by the IEBC Disputes Resolution Committee here at the Milimani Law Courts in Panel 3. Remember, the hearings of this committee will be coming to a close on Sunday, the 19th of June this month. Maybe to put you to speed, Dennis Otieno and our viewer, is that Walter Mongare and his advocate were not able to prove the veracity of the documents they presented to the IEBC, arguing that actually he graduated from Daystar University. According to the transcripts that were presented by the council to the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee, shows that Walter Mongare was only at Daystar University for 7 months between the month of May and the month of October the year 2021, and as per the requirements, he did not meet all the requirements that were supposed to be met for him to graduate. So there was that question on if he was only at Daystar University for 7 months only, if he was qualified to graduate, and his counsel was not in a position to explain to the members of the panel that is adjudicating over that matter. Dennis Otieno, to let you know that Walter Mongare was the first presidential candidate to be given a nomination certificate by the IEBC, but the IEBC recalled his nomination certificate after it emerged that the documents he presented before the IEBC was actually not a degree certificate but transcripts from Daystar University. Walter Mongare, through his lawyer, says that he transferred from Daystar University to Kenyatta University. But again, a registrar report from the Daystar University shows that units that were supposed to be captured on the transcripts from Kenyatta University were not captured, and therefore he ought not to have been given a leeway, or rather to be given the go-ahead to graduate. Remember, a degree certificate is one of the requirements that IEBC says all presidential candidates must provide for them to be cleared. Dennis Otieno, apart from Walter Mungare's case, two other presidential aspirants, that is Ekuru Aukot of the Third Way Alliance and Ruben Kigame, had their petitions also presided over today by the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee. Upon the hearing, the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee says that that matter will be determined on Sunday, that is the 19th of June. Remember, for Ekuru Aukot was rejected on 3 bases. First, that he was rejected on 3 bases. First, that he did not meet the threshold of the required signatures. Remember, IEBC had put that threshold that they required a presidential aspirant to have at least 2,000 signatures from 24 counties. On his side, Ekuru Aukot says that he actually submitted 26 signatures from 26 counties, but IEBC said that he met 23 signatures from 23 counties they qualified, but he says they were not given the 3 counties. They were not told which counties they did not meet the threshold. According to IEBC, they say that Ekuru Aukot clearly told the presidential returning officer Wafula Chebukati that he would not comply with the rule that required one to submit signatures, names and ID copies. He said that the issue of ID copies is still a matter that is being litigated in court, and therefore he would not comply with that particular clause. So IEBC says that Ekuru Aukot wants to come with his own rules. He does not want to adhere to the rules of the game. He says that Chebukati is the referee of the game, so you have to adhere to the rules of the game. And if you do not adhere to the rules of the game per the IEBC, then IEBC does not have another solution but to throw you out of the presidential race. Ekuru Aukot says that his constitutional rights were trampled upon by Chebukati. He says he was not given a leeway, or he was not given a latitude like other presidential candidates to align his documents, to align his signatures. He says other aspirants were given more time to go look for signatures, to go look for ID copies, but he says he was mistreated by the commission, and therefore he says he wants the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee to quash Wafula Chebukati's decision of locking him outside of the August 9 presidential race. So Dennis Otieno will be here, Milimani Lokot. There are still other cases that are coming up, but remember the determination of Ekuru Aukot is being delivered tonight, 8 p.m. here at the Milimani Lokot. So at 8 p.m. we shall be knowing whether the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee will give him an opportunity to be in the ballot, or they will affirm Wafula Chebukati's decision to throw him out of the presidential race. On Sunday, Ruben Kigame and Walter Mungare will know their verdict, whether they will be on the presidential ballot or not. That is what is happening here at Milimani Lokot. Dennis Otieno, back to you in studio.
Well, thank you very much, Mwangi Maina, for that elaborate update. Of course, talking about the cases that are currently ongoing at the Milimani Law Courts, among them being that of Walter Mungare, who's definitely gone ahead to try and defend himself, saying that after studying at Daystar University, he transferred to the Kenyatta University, but the court has stated clearly that Walter Mungare's transcripts did not correlate. Also, Mwangi Maina has also definitely updated us on a number of other presidential candidates who are still appealing at the Milimani Law Courts, among them being Ekuru Aukot and other candidates who are still trying to appeal, the decision by the IEBC to deny them to progress into the presidential race. But moving on, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has urged Western Kenya residents to vote for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential candidate Raila Odinga in the August polls. According to the governor, the region has been lagging behind in developmental matters, saying residents need to make the right decision when electing leaders to ensure meaningful development in the region.
Roads and lands. Tuko na kaunti ya water.
Na uweze kusema utapigia Raila Amolo Odinga kura na unasahau hao majeshi yake. Anataka awe na majeshi. Mimi nikipeleka sasa budget kwa bunge, niko huko na majeshi. Nikiangalia huku naona Ellis Muhanda ako pale. Nikiangalia huku naona Lisa Mula ako pale. Nasema niko sawa sawa. Niko sawa sawa, sasa hii budget yangu itaenda through. Unaona vile vinafanyika hapa, tena inafanyika kule. Kama hatuna majeshi itakuwa namna gani? Amechukua mimi, amefanya waziri wa kuangalia pesa yote katika Kenya. Cheo kubwa cha watu wa Kakamega. Cheo kubwa kabisa. Tena mnaweza kuwa na shida na Raila Amolo Odinga. Sasa mlitaka mfanyie nini? Kwa sababu yeye atakuwa president, atakuwa anakaa kule Nairobi, hatakuwa hapa. Lakini amepatia kijana wenu ambaye atakuwa daraja yake na nyinyi. Na vile mnajua sisi watu wa Western tumekuwa upinzani hii miaka yote. Tangu multi-party ije, tumekuwa only kwa serikali wakati tulikuwa na nusu mkate. Hiyo serikali haikuwa yetu, tulikuwa pato tuko opposition mpaka saa hii. Sasa Mungu amekuleta karibu ya sisi Waluhya kuwa kwa serikali ya Raila Amolo Odinga. Huko ndani. Na tena amempa kijana ambao atakuwa anaamua hii naenda huku, hii naenda huku, hii naenda huku. Wewe unataka nini?
From politics to matters health, Mombasa residents have been urged to be extra cautious following the outbreak of the dengue fever and diarrhea in the county. According to Mombasa County Chief Officer Pauline Oginga, 700 cases of dengue fever and 8,648 cases of diarrhea have been reported in a month.
We want to meet the community halfway. One of them is draining of stagnant water within homesteads. We are also emphasizing on people going for treatment in public health facilities. The signs and symptoms of dengue fever are similar to malaria. So people present with issues of fever, headache, joint aches, muscle aches. At times there's also sore throat and all that. But we emphasize that people go to the public facilities for confirmation of these cases and prompt treatment. The department is trying as much as possible to sensitize the community. We have community health volunteers moving within the community, doing the sensitizations. We have our teams, the public health officers, moving around within the community. And also we've embarked on an exercise. We are planning to start the fogging around the county, but we cannot cover the entire county. So we'll start with the informal settlement. What we are really advocating for is that during this period of time that we are doing fogging around the county, we ask the residents, because we know so many people store water in buckets and tanks, that they should cover these containers, because if they are left uncovered, they form a very good breeding site for mosquitoes. We also have a lot of tires that are idle, used tires that are around the county. And those, when it rains, water pool in these tires and they form a perfect breeding sites for mosquitoes. So we are kindly asking those who are operating car garages or those who have tires that they've since used at home and they don't need anymore to dispose of these tires because they form perfect breeding sites for mosquitoes. We are also asking those in construction sites to remove pooling water or stagnant water within the construction sites. We've had calls coming from different residents raising concern.
Now, from the coastal region all the way to the North Rift region, where the Media Council of Kenya has continued to sensitize journalists in the North Rift region to ensure they are well equipped to cover the August polls. We're now joined live by our reporter Boniface Barasa, who is pitching tent in Eldoret Town, Uasin Gishu County. Good afternoon, Boniface Barasa. Kindly tell us more about the training to the journalists offered by the Media Council of Kenya.
Good afternoon to Dennis Otieno, and we're coming to you live from Eldoret Town, Uasin Gishu County. It has been the second day, or the training marks the second day today, after the North Rift region journalists are converging here in Eldoret Town just to be equipped ahead of August election. And the body that is doing that is Media Council of Kenya. Remember, they are the regulatory of the industry, or the regulators of the industry. They have just bring together all the journalists from this region to equip them on what is expected of them come August 9th election, as the campaign continue to intensify, or the State House race continue to intensify and to gain momentum. Therefore, we're joined by journalists, a local journalist from Uasin Gishu here, briefly before we engage the CEO who has participated in this training. Briefly introduce yourself, and as a scribe, what have you been able to learn?
My name is Titus Zominde. I'm a journalist with Nation Media Group. I want to thank MCK for this gesture. It has been a nice opportunity for us to refresh, for us to remember what are the do's and don'ts during this election coverage, bearing in mind that this is a unique election whereby some of us who have been in this industry for some time, we used to cover election whereby there are only 2 or 3 ballots. But this time we are having 6 ballots. So we thank Media Council for understanding that there are dynamics of election coverage, that there was a need for us to be brought on board so that we can be trained and be refreshed on how to cover these particular elections, so to speak.
Are you ready for the election?
Basically, from the knowledge that I've received, I will say I'm ready.
Thank you. Let's also hear from the Media Council of Kenya CEO David Moyo, who has been part of the trainees or trainers in this training ongoing in Eldoret Town. Thank you for making time for TV47, and we are live on TV47. Bwana CEO, briefly introduce yourself for the interest of our viewers and tell us what next after this training.
You already did. My name is David Moyo, CEO at the Media Council of Kenya.
Yes.
We are currently undertaking trainings, 4 locations in the country this week: Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret here, and Meru. We will have more over the weekend and more next week. It's within our target. We had set out to train 1,500 journalists to cover the elections, because we realize that our newsrooms have very many fresh and new journalists, people who have never covered an election before. And so we started from developing the election reporting guidelines, then a training manual, then a TOT, then we deployed countrywide trainings, which will be ongoing, to simply remind the journalists from the initial code of ethics, how to report elections, opinion polling, fact-checking and avoiding fake news, ensuring balance and objectivity, avoiding bias and all that. And then about the processes, the electoral processes around the election period. That period, say from 2nd August to around the 12th August, when the deployment is done, we are setting up at the polling centers how to follow up that. The next phase, which begins tomorrow, these phases are not exclusive. That's why I said that in about 3 weeks we stop the training. We will move into the planning phase. And beginning tomorrow, we are meeting with editors from all media houses to reflect, because having moved around the country and interacted with 2,000 journalists, we have received the realities and all that is happening. We now want the editors and the managers in the newsrooms to hear the feedback from the field, so that we can discuss further how they are going to manage the deployments. And so beginning tomorrow, over the next few weeks also, we're going to be discussing with journalists about the safety of the journalists, their welfare, whether they will need places to cover the elections, their means of transport, security, how you relate to the security agencies and all that. So really this is an entire comprehensive program of elections, which we deployed from November last year and goes on until after, ideally, the swearing in of a new president.
Talking of safety, is media guaranteed free and safe space in this electioneering period?
Principally, yes. By law, yes, and then by advocacy. And then legally on the ground, we have had meetings with the Inspector General of Police and law enforcement agencies. Actually, yesterday, we had meetings with the police in Isiolo and Kisii. We have had meetings with the police last week in Baringo to agree that now the media and the local security agencies have a working protocol so that they are able to move. So we have done that. At advocacy level, we have had agreements with IEBC that we will protest and oppose the inclusion of any politician who threatens the freedom and the safety of journalists and the media. But then we also did the Intermedia House Security Charter, where we brought together all editorial directors from leading media houses, including the international media houses, to develop a joint safety protocol to guide journalists in the field how to act safely, and when they come under threat or danger, how they can act together.
Thank you. You've had it clear from Media Council of Kenya CEO David Moyo, just putting into perspective what is anticipated in this simultaneous process of training journalists from the regions, and also later they'll be engaging editors from various media houses, that is from tomorrow, just to make sure they give them feedback from the region that have been able to conduct trainings, and also giving us simultaneous process what is expected after the editors training and with the IEBC, and also guaranteeing that media they have done all they can to assure the country a media space. I take it over back to you, Dennis Otieno. Over to you, Dennis Otieno.
Thank you very much, Boniface Barasa, for that comprehensive update. Of course, Barasa will be following up with the story and will be informing us further as it develops in our subsequent bulletins. Now, from the media training in the North Rift region, we'll do a short break, but don't go too far. When we come back, we'll be giving you more news as well as some sporting actions. Stay tuned.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
Well, do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Of UDA party, Musalia Mudavadi of ANC and Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya cited bias and intimidation by the UDA party. This comes days after Kabogo was embroiled in a public spat with Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi. At the Kenya Kwanza rally on Wednesday, clashes they claim UDA members orchestrated.
Ile walitufanya na Waititu ndio hivyo wanataka kujaribu saa hii. Ati kwa lazima tutachagua Wamatangi. Mimi nataka mnionyeshe kwa ishara ya mkono mmekataa hiyo maneno. Kesho huyo Rigathi Gachagua atakuja hapa. Na kabla ya kuchaguliwa Rigathi Gachagua na William Ruto ambaye mimi nilikuwa nimepinga, ndio maneno ya UDA na sisi imeanza kuzoroteka. Kwa sababu yule jamaa ni dictator. Yule jamaa ni dictator.
Meanwhile, Azimio One Kenya flag bearer Raila Odinga has urged the government to initiate fresh talks with Keroche Brewery's directors. This, he says, will ensure the industry grows and also protect small businesses in the country. Speaking in Murang'a County, the Azimio flag bearer vowed to revive the ailing economy and boost small-scale traders in the country.
Kuleta Wakenya pamoja tukaingiza Mwai Kibaki. Huyu ndiye Raila Amolo Odinga. Alisalimiana na Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Kenya ikatulia tuweze kuendelea. Huyu ni Raila yule amepigania haki za Mkenya miaka yake yote. Na ndiye sasa ameniteua kuwa running mate na ndiye tumeleta na wenzangu wote. Na tukiwa hata na Peter Munya. Ndio muelewe hii serikali Mount Kenya iko ndani. na muomba muangalie utendaji kazi wetu, muangalie sisi na wapinzani wetu, timu gani munaweza amini.
Wale ambayo wanafanya biashara yao kibinafsi, jua kali, tutawasaidia kwa upande ya jitihada. Maana kuna wengine ambaye walianza kufanya kazi lakini hawakuwa na certificate ya shule. Sasa hawezi kupata kandarasi ya serikali. Tunaleta kitu kinaitwa recognition of prior learning. Jitihada ya shahada ya jitihada. Ili kama unajua kazi ya kuchoma kama ile ya welding, ile ya mechanic, ile electrician, ile ya plumber, mwingine ile ni seremala, mwingine ni mwashi na kadhalika. Anapewa shahada, yeye anaweza kupata kandarasi ya serikali ili aweze kuinua hali yake ya kimaisha. Sio apite kupitia kwa mkono ya wale mabwanyenye. Sawa? Hata watu wa bodaboda tuwasaidia kwa pesa, kwa ile pesa ambayo gharama yake si juu zaidi. Wale watu wa bodaboda. Kwa hiyo tunataka kuinua hali ya watu wa chini waende juu. Na wale maskini kabisa, jamii ambayo hawana mapato yoyote, tunaleta mpango unaitwa Social Protection Program. Kuanzia mwaka ujao, jamii hao watapata kutoka kwa serikali kila mwezi shilingi 6,000. Sawa? Sawa. Na wale wa mama ambaye wana watoto na hawana mabwana, single parent mothers, ambaye mwingine bwana yake alifariki, yeye ni mjane, mabaki na watoto. Mwingine waliwachana na bwana kwa sababu hali ya maisha mbaya, amabaki ni watoto, bwana amechukua bibi nyingine. Sio? Mwingine alidanganywa na kijana, ninakupenda sana darling, nitakuoa. Lakini tuendelee kufanya kazi. Wakafanya kazi, mimba imetokea, kijana ametoroka. Sawa? Hawa mama wanapata shida mingi sana kimaisha, sio? Na watoto yao wanapata shida kwa upande ya elimu. Watapata msaada kutoka kwa serikali ya baba na mama.
Businessman Jimmy Wanjigi now says he is optimistic that his name will be on the ballot ahead of the August polls. Wanjigi has accused chairperson, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson Wafula Chebukati of not following the law, further stating that there is another hand involved in the IEBC. Wanjigi now wants the IEBC Resolution Committee to compel Chebukati to approve his nomination as a presidential aspirant.
Beyond what you're officially being shown, there seems to be another hand behind this IEBC. In fact, today we sought to have the IEBC chair, Bwana Chebukati, cross-examined by my good running mate, Willis Otieno. That was denied by the court. But one of the questions we wanted to ask him was whether there is a super returning officer, a super chairman of IEBC, an unseen hand that we are unable to see. This is because he is not following the law. And when you see somebody not following the law, maybe there is a script he's given from elsewhere. I don't want to say too much today. We have a ruling tomorrow on our application, and we pray overnight that they shall be led by the law of the land and not by hidden hands. They'll be led by justice, not by hidden hands. They'll be led by God, not hidden hands of impunity. We are hopeful of our success. We are certain we shall be on the ballot, God willing.
Meanwhile, digital and traditional taxi drivers in Nakuru City have criticized the county government's plan to scrap parking of vehicles in the Central Business District (CBD). This follows the introduction of the 80 million shillings non-motorized transport NMT system and beautification of the city streets, which has taken up parking space in the country's fourth city. Addressing the press, the operators, led by Fred Nyakundi, said that the move will greatly affect their businesses as they will now be pushed out of the city center. Central Rift Matatu Owners Association chairperson Stephen Muli, who is also a stakeholder in the taxi industry, said that they would rally the members behind Nakuru Senator Susan Kihika.
Tengenezwa huku, parking zikitengenezwa, lakini hamukuweza kuelewa ni ya nini. Na tuseme ukweli ni kwamba hapa Nakuru, tangu tuinue Nakuru mji uwe city, tungetaka pia wale ambao wanatembea huku wawe na mahali ya kutembea. Ukitembea uchoke, unapata bench mahali ambapo unaweza pumzika, uchukue simu, ama kama unaumwa na mguu unaweza kupata nafuu kidogo. Kwa hivyo tunataka kufanya Nakuru to be a people friendly city.
Governor ambao alioko ni governor ambao anafukuza wafanyabiashara ya uchukuzi. Alianza na matatu, sasa amepanga kufukuza watu wa taxi kwa hii town. Ndio unaona ya kwamba hata ile koti ambao wanalipa ya parking imeenda juu, na amekataa kukaa chini na wafanyabiashara wa taxi vile alikataa kukaa chini na wafanyabiashara ya matatu.
And today we've agreed in one voice that we are going to support Susan Kihika because she has shown interest in supporting small businesses in this town, and we are tired of being misused by the current government, and we have decided that's why you can see all cars are branded, that we are going to support and stand with Mama Susan Kihika.
We have seen a governor who has completely just finished our small businesses, especially in this town, where he just threw out the matatus with no regard to what would happen to those livelihoods. So what I'm saying is, it can be a win-win. The town can be decongested by having maybe only 2 matatus in town, while the others are in a holding area. When one fails, another one comes in, so that we don't completely kill an industry just to be able to put cobro and trees in the town center. Now you have supermarkets where you can't even come in and offload the goods, or if I go to town and I want to buy those goods, those businesses are dying on a daily basis because of the trees that are being planted in town. So those are some of the things we shall do away with immediately.
Hapo awali miji yetu imekuwa ni miji ambaye inaangalia sana sana masuala ya wale wako na gari. Our cities are made for vehicles, but we are saying a modern city should be people friendly and not for vehicles.
Now, the government has been urged to deal with women who are using new techniques to ensure girls face the cut in Romo area, Kajiado County. The cases continue to rise as women are forcefully circumcised during delivery. Human rights defenders have urged the government to put measures in place to ensure the retrogressive culture becomes a thing of the past.
Tumeweza kutambua ya kwamba kitambo wasichana walikuwa wanatahiriwa kutoka miaka ya kutoka tuseme 13 kupanda. Jamii imeweza kukuja na mbinu mpya ambazo ni za kukeketa watoto wako chini ya umri hata wa miaka 3. Na unajua kabisa ya kwamba mtoto ambaye ako chini ya umri wa miaka 3 ni mtoto ambaye hawezi akajizungumzia. Wasichana wengine wamekuwa wakitoroka. Tumekuwa na cases ambayo msichana ametoroka kwao, akaenda kwa safe houses, akaweza kuwekwa mahali pale na akaweza kujizungumzia, akaweza kutoroka hizi.
Katu akiwa na hiyo uchungu, hata yeye mwenyewe atajua kwamba amekeketwa. Kwa hivyo ile anakuja kumzalisha, anafanyaje? Anamkeketa. Akishamkeketa, mama akishajifungua, hatajua kuwa alikeketwa, atafikiria tu ni masuala ya nini ya kuzalishwa.
Tamaduni zetu duni ambazo zimepitwa na wakati, wamekuwa wakilazimishwa katika ndoa za lazima, wanaacha shule, wanaozwa, na vijana wetu pia wamekuwa wakihusika katika kuhamisha ng'ombe, haswa saa hii wakati wa kiangazi.
Kwa sababu kupitia ushirikiano wa washikadau ama washirika tumejaribu sana kung'ang'ana.
Tongaren residents in Bungoma County are still reeling in shock after a 42-year-old man who was a gatekeeper at the Nabingenge Secondary School was attacked and brutally murdered. Milima Area Chief Martin Picho has confirmed the incident, saying that the thieves attacked the man at 7 o'clock at night and killed the watchman by hacking him to death with a machete, adding that the body of the deceased was found by students early this morning. According to Nabingenge Secondary School teacher Frank Saisi, the attackers made away with 3 computers and property of unknown value.
Hapa ukisikia kitendo kama hiki kimefanyika, inaonekana ama inamaanisha kwamba ni kitu ambacho kimefanyiwa mazoezi kwa muda. Ukijaribu kuangalia ni kwamba pale nyuma kwa fence huenda ndio ilikuwa entry point, ndio wakaingia kwa shule wakatekeleza ile unyama. Ningependa kuwaomba vijana wetu, wananchi wetu, wamama ambao wako katika area hii. Hatuwezi pata wananchi ambao wametoka kama Webuye, wametoka Kitale kuja kutekeleza kitendo kama hicho. Ningependa kuwasihi na kuwaomba tafadhali, mkiona mtu yoyote ambaye amehusika na hiyo ama kuna dalili ya kuonyesha kwamba huenda yeye ndiye ametekeleza kitendo kama hicho, mnaweza kunielezea.
Serikali tusaidie na wenyeji pia kuweka ulinzi wa kutosha. Sisi cameras sifanye kazi inayostahili, na pia patrols za polisi singekuwa zinafanyika sehemu kama hizi mtaani, tungezuia vingine.
Nasi tuna wingi wa tumaini kwamba waliohusika Mungu ndiye atawafichua mchana wa leo.
Such a gruesome occurrence. May the soul of the bereaved rest in eternal peace and justice be promptly served. Meanwhile, Safaricom has today announced the return of the Nyakua 100% data bonus, a campaign which was unveiled earlier this year for customers to enjoy 100% bonus data upon attaining their daily data targets. During the 90-day campaign, which will run from 16th June to 13th September 2022, customers will get 100% bonus data every time they use a Safaricom bundle and achieve their daily assigned target. The bonus data will be valid until midnight. The campaign, which builds on the success of the first Nyakua data bonus campaign introduced in February this year, will enable prepay and postpay customers to enjoy more internet for less. Customers can opt in and check their daily targets and usage on My Safaricom app on the Safaricom website, or by dialing *544# and selecting 0 for the Nyakua bonus menu.
Right. My name is Fozia Ali. I look after mobile data at Safaricom. We are really happy today because we are launching a campaign that we had launched previously in February called Nyakua Data Double Double, where we are helping Kenyans and standing with Kenyans to stretch their shilling. As we are all aware, the current economic situation is quite tough. Food prices have gone up, fuel has gone up, fuel prices have gone up, and we are all trying to manage with the best that we can. And as Safaricom, we felt that it was important to stand with our customers and just try and see how we can help them to stretch their shilling. So the campaign is around helping them to stretch their shilling, what we call Nyoosha Shilingi Zaidi. The campaign is a usage campaign. For customers, what they have to do is go and identify what their target is by simply dialing *544#, or also going to My Safaricom app and actually getting their target. So if you go to *544# option 0, you'll see we have a whole menu for Nyakua bonus.
Members of the Kenya Editors Guild have today converged to commemorate the late celebrated journalist Philip Ochieng. The speakers have stressed on the importance of the media in building a nation's history, as it holds the power to account and speak the truth. They have therefore urged the members of the public to take the media industry in line for credible, reliable and trustworthy, especially during the electioneering period.
That the owners of the Kenya Times would want somebody like me associated with that newspaper at all. But he reassured me that all the way to the very top, he had gotten the clearance. He then gave me a very good lecture that I'll never forget, and I won't go over, about the complexities of being an editor in a country like Kenya, which has a history of having a relatively free media, and I think we have done well compared to all our neighbors in this part of Africa. But he gave me a lecture of how difficult it is to be an editor in a situation at the time which was not that democratic, but we were moving towards greater democracy, and there was a lot of rancor and pushing and shoving in the political elite about it. And he said that, one has to accept in this job of journalism that you win some, you lose some, and there will always be casualties. If you don't want to accept that reality, then you can work for Standard Chartered or Barclays Bank, or and life will be a lot more easy and straightforward. But here we play a role in society of telling truth to power that always causes some discomfort. And his lecture to me about the challenges of politics came to be true, because I think we met on a Thursday and or Friday evening, and we had this long discussion, and we were doing our negotiations. I said, let me come back to you. And on Monday, President Moi sacked Philip Ochieng. And in a sense, it brought home the truth that he had told me, that there are casualties in this business. And when we next met, we both laughed and said, I told him, what you told me seemed to have happened to you. And he says, that is the way life is. I really appreciated how philosophically he took his what had happened to him at that time. So that was the limit of my interaction with Philip Ochieng. We talked several times after that when he was at the Nation, but mostly in the later times when he was a columnist. And I was trying to tempt him to write for our own little online paper, The Elephant. And at the time, he was not feeling very well physically. But I think I would like to congratulate the Editors Guild for honoring Philip Ochieng, for honoring a journalist. In Kenya, we seem to honor politicians. Especially if you go to a politician's funeral, even a thief, really you will think this is somebody who was sent from heaven to save Kenyans. But actually, Kenya is held together by a range of...
Former Finance Minister Chris Obure and his permanent secretary Sami Chungu have been acquitted in a multi-million shillings Anglo Leasing project. Obure, Chungu and Samuel Bundotich, who was a finance secretary at the same ministry, were accused of having authorized some 928 million shillings to be used in Postal Corporation security project. The trial magistrate Anne Mwangi said the prosecution did not provide sufficient evidence to convict them. She said the trio did not directly benefit from the funds as demonstrated by their defense lawyers. Now, the court said that in the absence of enough evidence, the accused stand acquitted. While speaking outside the court, Obure hailed the trial court for considering the evidence by the prosecution and defense lawyers and arriving at a just conclusion. It is the Anglo Leasing case that has seen Chris Obure and his permanent secretary, that is Sami Chungu, getting acquitted for a multi-million shillings Anglo Leasing project. The amount in case being 928 million shillings that was used in Postal Corporation security project. The three being Chris Obure and his permanent secretary Sami Chungu and Bundotich have been acquitted, and they've stated, or rather they've lauded the court for arriving at a just conclusion.
PW22, PW25 and PW charged. Having considered all the above factors, I feel...
All right. It's been a difficult journey, very painful journey. The humiliation we've had to go attending court sessions during that period. I recall I was a senator for Kisii at the time. Between 2013 and 2017, I could not even perform my duty